Before you get into the real estate market, get clarity, perspective, and the information you need.
I've been listening to you, and I love your show.
Right here with broker owner Dan Gemus, host of the Dan Gemus Real Estate Show.
All right, welcome back to the show on this Sunday afternoon. Aaron Blackmere, Joyce Blackmere with me in studio today. We're going to recap the year. Before we do that, though, I have to say, nothing drives me more crazy than trying to think, like it's on the tip of your tongue, and it's right there, right? It's right there. We're talking movies right now during the commercial break. And Aaron mentioned a movie, and I'm like, I just saw that movie just days ago, and I cannot remember what that movie was. It's driving me crazy. It's going to come to me in the middle of a segment. So if I start screaming in the middle of a segment, that's why.
Calm down. It's not that important.
If I just shoot us right to commercial break in the middle of Aaron talking, you'll know why.
Yes, we figured it out.
I figured it out. It's driving me crazy. So
we'll let you know if we figure it out.
Crazy.
It's driving me nuts now, too.
Okay.
Next segment, figure out this movie.
Next segment. So a reminder, the last segment of the show today, we will do our listener questions. If you have any questions for us, you can text them, 519-792-2559. Email me, Dan at dangemus.com or Joyce at dangemus.com. We'll cover them live on the show. If we don't get to them in this show, we'll get to them in the next show or the show after. We will get to your questions. So we don't get to them all because it's hard to fit them all in, but we will get to your questions, I promise. Now, let's talk about last year a little bit. We will also, we went over the stats yesterday a little bit. I'll recap a little bit, but I also want to focus on what we think will happen this year, what we kind of see happening this year. So before we do that, let's quickly recap the year. So December, the listings were up drastically, almost 30% over December of last year. The year finished off with a 12% increase in listings over 2023. So again, a healthy increase there, which is great because we want more listings on the market.
We need inventory.
Right?
Yep.
And those who are looking to sell have to go somewhere.
Yep.
So it's great for them to have a bit more options and things are sitting around a bit longer, which is great. Sales were pretty much on par, dead on par with what they were in December 23. For the year, we were up 3.34% in sales. So not a big increase, 160 or so listings, sales increase over 23.
Right.
The average price, however, was up 14.42% in December.
Yeah.
Year to date, the average price is up almost 4%. So it's pretty much where we thought it would be.
Yep.
We figured it would go that way.
We thought it'd be somewhere between 550 and 580, 590. We ended up at 578.
Yep.
So we're right there where we kind of anticipated. Again, it's not for those who are listening and who are waiting for the prices to come down drastically. It's just not happening.
No.
We're waiting a long time.
Yeah. Even in the slowdown, the massive slowdown, the first part of last year, the last part of 23, like the market really slowed down quite drastically.
Yep.
And even then, we didn't see the prices coming down.
No.
No, it kept moving upward.
Inching,
Yeah.
It just kept marching forward.
Yeah.
And, with all these people talking about the price drops and it's not happening,
Something that always catches our eye as well is the number of sales over $1 million.
Yeah.
And in December, we had 18 sales over $1 million.
Yeah.
5 of them over $1.4 million in Windsor-Essex. Now, we were talking about this the other day. It wasn't long ago where we have one sale or 10 sales for the whole year.
Yeah.
Over $1 million.
And we did that in 1 month.
And now we're seeing this on a monthly basis. Times 20.
How many did you just say there?
18.
18 in December.
In December, which is a slow time of the year.
Exactly. So
The slowest month of the year is December.
Tell me this market's changing.
Man.
The days on market are a little longer.
Yeah.
But I mean,
sometimes,
the prices are still climbing.
The busiest price point was 450 to 500, followed by 5 to 550. So those are two. So basically, 450 to 550 was the busiest price point, which ends up making sense with the average price where it's at.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So our predictions for next year. What do we think?
This year?
For this year.
Yeah.
For this year.
I'm not looking at 2026 yet.
Okay. A lot of buyers were sitting on the fence waiting for interest rates to drop.
Yep.
A lot of sellers took their houses off the market or were on the fence waiting for interest rates to drop for buyers to have more affordability. And I think it's just going to be the perfect storm of everybody merging together. And we're going to see a lot more balanced conditions than we have been seeing in past years. Even last year was more balanced than we'd had been accustomed to in previous years. I think it's going to be a lot more balanced. It's still going to be competitive. Sellers need to price appropriately. The days of 150,000 over asking are all, but not maybe not gone in every situation, but for the most part, they're gone. And there's a lot. We're seeing a lot more negotiation and a lot more conditions coming back, which is a breath of fresh air for both sides. So this is important. Very, very important when you're considering offers. But
now, someone who's listening who wants to sell their house, they're thinking, well, no, I'd rather have competition. So why is it better for both sides, Joyce?
To have conditions?
Yes.
Because that gives people breathing room.
Yeah.
You, as a seller, when the buyer has done their due diligence and they're still going forward, the probability is that your deal is going to close without any issues or problems that come up at the last second. When you have no conditions, it may seem like a really great offer. And oftentimes it was. We're not saying this happened all the time, but we came across more times than we care to discuss when buyers all of a sudden in the final hour didn't have money to close the deal. And that can cause a massive ripple effect throughout everything, because the chances are that, if you're buying something else, it's conditional, that sale's conditional on the seller getting the money, et cetera, and that can go 10 houses down the line. Who knows, right? So it can cause a lot of problems and headaches.
How about you, Aaron? What do you think will happen this year?
We're going to keep climbing. We're going to keep going. I think by the end of the year, our interest rates are going to be even lower. I'm talking a whole year away here, in December 2025. I think we're going to drop down pretty good. But I think it's going to be that keep moving forward. We're going to keep climbing. We're going to get more activity now because more affordability. And the thing people have to remember, lower interest rates, higher prices. Usually is what comes with it.
And we talked to Ron yesterday, and basically to recap is he anticipates the economists are calling for, they were originally calling for 3 reductions, 3/4 point reductions this year. Now they're saying 2.
Okay.
So there's not much lower the rates can go, to be quite frank.
And that's where you got
although Trump takes office tomorrow. And we'll see what happens.
I'm forgetting dates here again.
We'll see what happens with the tariffs, right? If that actually comes to pass, or what will happen there. So that's a whole other next week's show.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So hopefully that's.
I never even thought of that. It came so quick. Wow.
I think our climbs, if we're seeing sale prices increase, average sale prices, I think our climbs are going to stay in that 2, 3, 4% sort of range, as opposed to 30% or 20%
and
year over year.
To take one step back real quick, by having, like what Joyce was saying about having conditions back, I would much rather find out 5 days after the offer that the financing isn't coming through rather than 5 days before the deal closes.
100%.
Yes.
When 5 days before the deal closes, you don't have a chance to get anything done here.
Yes.
If it's 5 days with that condition of financing, no harm, no foul, it didn't work out. Maybe there's still people floating around, you're still on the market, things like that.
And don't forget, there's usually a chain, right? A chain reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So if you don't close at the last second on the seller's house, the seller has somewhere to go, and they can't go there, and then so on, so forth, so on, so forth.
That's
this
right.
could go on
so
forever.
It could be 10 people deep.
Yeah.
That are all
affected
because you didn't close on that property. Which lawsuits start flying. You don't want that.
That could get ugly.
100%.
Knock on wood.
Yes.
Never been there.
Yep.
But holy cow, I would not want to be.
Oh yeah, we've had clients that have been there, and it's and they've lost. Like literally, they didn't close on their property because of whatever reason, and they had to pay up. We've had clients that have.
If you sign that contract and remove conditions or don't have, be sure, because
and I've heard in the past before, I'm afraid I'm going to lose the house if I have conditions, I'm not going to get the house. Well, but if you need conditions, that's okay, because if you need conditions and you can't close, you're still not getting the house.
Yes, exactly. But
you are going to have a lot of headaches on top of that. So just make sure you're speaking with a realtor and really understanding what your needs are. Don't let the competition bug bite you.
FOMO. Right?
Yeah, fear of missing out is always a big thing.
Yeah.
And there's a little misconception I just want to clear up too, is we don't just go and put a sign on the front yard and collect our commission check. There's
No.
a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
People don't realize, right?
There's a lot. And I've just seen a lot of things posted on Facebook here and there, and you read them. It's like, oh, I wish you understood a little more.
Yeah.
Because we don't just put signs up. Some might.
You know what?
but
That's the
Gemus team
industry's
doesn't.
fault for not educating properly,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which we really go out of the way to make sure we do. So
Yeah. So just a little tidbit there. It's
great point.
There's a lot that goes on there, and if you ever, I'm always fine to say, you know what, this is what we do for our
Yep.
commission. So
Yep.
just lay it out.
So listen, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with a great segment there. We covered lots there. We're going to come back and talk our VIP Perks program. We are going to do a quick interview with Crystal Bernauer from Crystal Clean. She'll talk about her services, and we'll come back and answer your questions as well. Your questions are coming in. I'm already seeing them. You can text us 519-792-2559 or email me dan@dangemus.com or joyce@dangemus.com. We'll cover your questions, or some of them at least, as many as we can, in the last segment of the show. Okay, so lots more to come right here on the Dan Gemus Real Estate Show.